everyone, it's Naomi, and welcome to the Firecracker Department Aftershow. This is where we get a bunch of the core members and we get some guests from the Firecracker Department community, and we talk about past podcast episodes and what hit our head, but hit our heart and our head and stuck with our systems that really inspired us past the listening of the podcast. We've got AJ Edmonds, who's right now in Toronto, but sometimes in Los Angeles. She's an amazing singer, creator, writer, but she also does some content creation for Firecracker Department, and she produces the Aftershow. Emily Churchill's in Los Angeles, and she's easily one of the funniest redheads I know. She's so delightful. She's an amazing creator. She's a go-getter, and she also does the Firecracker Department Wellness Department, where she does a monthly meditation that makes my heart sing. And she also produces the after show. What can't she do? And then we've got Brittney Elizondo, who is in Los Angeles, and Brittney is a writer on the verge of launch. She's writing, she's living with her wife and having a life that she is going to be writing about, and we can't wait to see what you do. I'm so happy you joined us, Brittney. This is so great.
Too. Thank you.
And we're talking about my chat with Emily Schmidt. Oh my gosh, this is my favorite thing about the Firecracker Department is I might have seen Emily Schmidt at like an event and had like a quick chat, but I got like a really like in-depth chat where I found out just how cool she is. What a cool person. Emily Schmidt has been in writer rooms like Girl Boss. She's also part of the main group behind the Chicks with Scripts, which is an amazing organization. And she also is in the room for This Country on Fox. You're going to want to follow along with Emily Schmidt. She's creating some great things. What resonated from my chat with you? Emily, what did you think?
Well, besides an awesome first name, okay. No, it's so funny. It's so funny because I'm listening to her story and I'm like, there's a lot of parallels. I mean, she's the tallest girl. Yes, check. She's going to be a basketball star. Check. I was going to be Cheryl Swoops Jr. Like it just kept going. She moved out here with her boyfriend. I moved out here with my girlfriend for a long distance for 8 years. It's like, what? But no, I love that she said kindness prevails because I feel like that is the key, especially that we all need right now. Kindness prevails. Kindness comes through. And it's
yes.
Like, yeah. So that's what really struck with me for sure.
I feel like she is part of like, not a new hub, but like a really special hub right now of folks like Kay Cannon and Karen Grazzi, that they're all sort of in that same thing of like, let's just be kind to each other, which shouldn't be groundbreaking. It's something that we should also be doing. But it's so great to just be exposing and putting that out into the ether more. What about you, AJ? What resonated for you?
I mean, I love listening to interviews of people who were the kids that needed other people to be kind when they were kids, like Kay and a couple of the other women, you've interviewed. It's like, and I don't know about all three of you, but like I was the kid that just wanted people to be nice when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I just try some kindness. And it didn't come a lot. And so now it's so nice to listen to these interviews with these like full-fledged individuals who are so confident in who they are. They're just misfits walking amongst one another. And she owns exactly who she is. Like, I mean, the dedication to Saturday Night Live.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
Yes.
Like, I'm almost jealous of just it was such a pure plan in what she's doing.
Yeah.
Like, I've never been so dedicated to anything in my life.
What a great legacy to like when she's like a writer in her own show, and to have that as her, like, it's such a great story. It's so fantastic. Good. Brittany, what about you? What resonated in our chat with you?
Well, it's funny because I had like kindness written down as well too, because I feel like that's something that initially drew me to the Firecracker Department to begin with, was kindness that was just resonating in everyone that you were interviewing. And I feel like that's not very common, especially in the industry, So to see that, and then also that's something that I am trying to live out in my life and just be kind to people. I'm always that person that feels bad for someone, even if like any kind of comment to them or anything, like I'm just empathetic to everyone's situation. And I think that it doesn't take much to be kind to someone. So to see her, and like one of the top things in the writer's room, when she said who she would bring on her team was just someone that's like funny, smart, kind, like these are things that are important to people, you know? So I think that was really cool to see.
And people are starting to own it.
I actually think kindness trumps it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean,
AJ?
there's a great Keanu Reeves quote where he says, you know, I don't want to live in a world where kindness is a weakness.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's so true. But like we have been raised specifically in Western hemispheres. You know, we've been raised that you stand on the shoulders of others to reach where you're going.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you talk
But
about
if you're standing on those shoulders, be kind to the person you're standing on.
yeah, you know, wear slippers, not stilettos.
Yeah. Mhm.
So true.
No, but you know what? I would say like the kindness trumps all of it. Like you can be okay talented and super kind. I'd rather have you in my room because you're going to get more talented. You're going to learn as we go. But kindness isn't something like, I mean, that takes a lot of work. So be kind above all. It just makes more sense.
I remember like with leaders, you never remember what they did. It's how they made you feel. And those the most successful leaders are the people that were able to lead in a way that made people want to follow them because of how they felt. Now, I mean, there have been a couple historically that kind of went like derailed a little and they were felt into the wrong places.
What could you be talking about? Sorry, go ahead.
I don't know.
Woo. Yes.
But
agreed.
you know, like a quality leader, regardless of industry, is someone that makes you feel worthy of being around, or you know, worth like you're contributing, and your kindness is being received. And you hear that with Emily, and you hear it in the relationship she built with Kay. Like she was Kay's assistant, but the way she talks about it, they were very level in the contribution and the confidence that Emily was given on her journey with Kay. You know, and you know, she talks about validation, and we do need validation, but so much of her journey has been about ensuring herself, she is validating herself in a way that is valuable to the energy she's putting out in the world.
I love that. Yeah. You know who who's like that in Canada is Diana Francis, who wrote for Corner Gas, and she's got a CSA, Canadian Screen Award. But she's the kind of person that whenever she's in a room, she's looking to other friends to give them opportunities to step up their game, which is like, open the door. If you're going through the door, open it up for somebody else. Makes sense. What else? I mean, I just kind of go, whatever room Emily's in, I want to be part of, or I want to like, I'll bring craft, I'll bring coffees into the room. I just want to be.
Can she host an improm every year?
Oh yeah.
Like
right?
What story? What do you mean you hosted an improm? That is like somebody stripped that out.
That's her
like a Nora Ephron film and threw it at Emily's life.
Yeah.
And that's her people too, right? Like you see the people around you and you're like, okay, that's the kind of people you attract. If you have a bunch of douchebags around you, you check in with yourself.
Yeah.
What else, Brittany? What else made you laugh or made your heart sing?
Well, I like that part. I think it was towards the end where she talks about obsession and how it's usually like that thing that you were obsessed with that you kind of have to argue for your life, you know, for the rest of your life with people, your parents, everything like that. And I feel like similar with my own experience that like I've always, my mom when growing up, like it was always my mom and I that would go to like studio tours, or she took me to a few tapings, I think of What I Like About You with Amanda Bynes. I don't know if you guys remember that. And I just remember wanting to know what goes on behind the scenes. Like if there was movies with commentary, like a version that you can watch, then I would watch that. I think it was A Walk to Remember that I watched over and over again. I would listen to what the actors were talking about.
Oh my God, I totally watched that.
Oh my gosh, I love that movie
100%.
so much. And
So
you know, I was just like, I just wanted to know their process. I wanted to know the food that they were eating. Like, is it really edible? Is it not? Like, what does it taste like? How many times are they running their lines? Like, how many, like, all this stuff that really intrigued me and that I was fascinated by, not necessarily like the celebrity. And I feel like even then, if I ever met someone, I would just be like, oh, okay, like, let's get coffee. You know, like, I just want to know like your process with it. You know, I'm not so much like starstruck by it. And so that I thought like, okay, that's so me, because these things that I've been obsessed with that maybe not a lot of people got or understood, it's something that is really just important to me at the end of the day. And it's something that is constantly nudging me to like, hey, don't give up on that. You know, don't get comfortable where you're at, because this is something that actually matters to you. And that's the thing also that drives me to want to create, you know? So yeah, I really like that part.
Yeah, that's her jam too. Like she's so dedicated to this process. And then also like being part of something like Chicks with Scripts, which is like paying it forward too. It's like, oh my gosh, she's the coolest. Emily, you're nodding your head. What do you think?
Well, it's kind of the same token. I'm not a writer in a sense. I mean, I have written, but I would not see myself in a writer's room. But I love that she said, you want to be around good laughers. And I was like, oh, that's amazing. Like, yeah, you do, especially if you're in writing comedy, right? You want to be in a room with good laughers because you want people to share in the laugh and see, hey, is this funny? Is this working? You know? So when she said that, I was like, that's so true. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You know, when she mentioned that was, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, is it common that people don't laugh when you're like in the room, like when you're saying jokes? Like, I feel like I can't get through my own jokes sometimes. Like, you know, like I was like, oh, really? People don't laugh in these situations?
I'll laugh at my own joke.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, sometimes I can't.
I think what happens though in comedy, though, and I think in comedy people get really heady. Like, I don't know if you like. I sometimes watch comedy, like TV or movies, and I'm like, yeah, that's funny. Oh yeah, that's funny. That's funny. But I'm not like affected by until I see something like, I think you should leave. Have you seen that sketch show?
No.
And it just surprises me. But like, there's sort of like a detachment between your mind and your funny bone.
Oh, okay.
That you need to you can just freely laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would say just being on set, you don't hear laugh. Like you do your line and you're like, oh, I think that was good, but nobody's laughing until you cut. And then they're like, ah, you're like, well, could you have done that in the moment? But no, they're taping, right?
Right.
I remember I was at a table read, and this is the first time that I had gotten like a huge laugh at a table read. Because usually, I don't know about y'all, but usually it's a little bit nerve-wracking. You're like, oh my God, especially for me, I'm like, I just hope I can pronounce it right. Come on, Em. And so like I did it, and everyone's laughing, and that was great. But I'm like, how many times have they read that line and not had any laugh? Like, you know what I mean? So it's.
Yeah.
I know in the business that I've dealt with, I haven't heard laughter that much, even though it's comedy.
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, that's why we do these, Emily, so that we can have some laughs, because you're easily one of the funniest people I know.
It's true.
Oh thank gosh. I love to laugh. I love you girls, ladies, people. Oh,
and I laugh about things that you and I have experienced when I'm by myself. Like I just
that's amazing.
Like, you have no idea. I'll just go, girl, and I start giggling.
I know.
It's a residual giggle that you have.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm honestly trying to filter my facial expressions right now because Emily has me cracking up with her facial expressions. I'm like,
no,
I'm trying.
Sorry.
No.
One day AJ's gonna put together a whole after show just based on Emily's negotiations with her technology.
Oh no.
Some of the best things
some
you've
of
ever
the
seen.
best moments of pure comedy.
I get so nervous. Yes.
But she's right. And Emily Schmidt is such a positive force that you kind of go, yeah, that's the kind of person that you're wanting to be around, so that you do like it elevates your own work too.
Yes.
Any final thoughts on Emily Schmidt?
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to pivot. I love hearing her talk about she thought all she ever wanted to do was be a writer on SNL, and then she just found comfort and joy in something else. And that's nice. It's great to hear, like all these ladies that we listen to. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Have you all had a pivot? Have you all had a pivot moment that you can look at? Like I remember being in Canada. There's a Shakespeare festival, and when I was in theater school, I was like, Shakespeare festival. That's where I want to go. And then I remember waking up going, I don't. I gotta go to Second City. What am I talking about? I don't want to be in Shakespeare. And it was like it was a pivot, but thank goodness, because I haven't looked back. Do you have any pivots, you folks?
I mean, I would say mine would be my healing, because I've been, acting for so long, and I just fell into it. I was like, well, I just want to help people too, in addition to acting, which I still feel is my number one. But it is scary when you pivot, because you're like, well, are you going to take away from that? You can't take away from that. So, and it's been great. Doing both is wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How about you, Brittany? Have you had a pivot?
I feel like I'm currently pivoting. Like
this year I think so.
Has been
That's
been a year that has caused me to really look at my life and what I want to do in the next 5 years, 10 years. And I mean, being at home now, having more time, for myself, it's really, I feel like it's been nudging me, something that I've been putting off for a while. How old am I? 28. That I've kind of like 10 years, I got a job right out of high school, and I've just been working in an office. And now I feel like everything kind of just came on me at once that, what do you want? Do you want the next 10 years to look like this? So I feel like I am in a point where I'm pivoting, Yeah.
Okay, if you were a friend of yours, what advice would you give yourself? Is that a confusing question? Like if you saw somebody that was like you and sort of pivoting into a creative journey, what advice would you give?
I feel like it would probably just be like to do it. And I do have like people that are nudging me. The only thing that it comes back to is like income, and having that security. And it scares me to leave that, especially like living here, it's expensive. And then also hearing like the voices of my grandparents or parents, like, oh no, you got married, you buy a house, you have kids, like all these things that's like, okay, yeah, I know I'm trying, that's the goal, but is it my goal? Is it really?
Yeah, but newsflash, you can do all those things.
I know.
And you got like, you know what I mean? You're in a good place where you've got a secure job. Just start writing. Get nudging
that's
yourself.
Exactly what I'm like, okay, I have to look at it as kind of like a second job, but it's actually something I want to do after I clock out, so definitely I want to get into that.
You got some good stuff coming in your way. I can feel it. AJ, I want to hear your pivot. Did you have a pivot story?
Yeah, I went to university instead of auditioning for Shakespeare shows, honestly. I just
Shakespeare.
Yeah, I went to university instead. And a lot of
How
people
did it feel?
Oh, it was terrifying and I didn't want to go. I really didn't want to. And I did have people because I went to college as a performer first and then went to university after. And I have a very distinct memory of coming across one of the girls I graduated with. And she was like, oh, how is it? I was like, honestly, it's really tough. And she goes, yeah, I didn't think you'd like going. You should have just stayed as a performer. And I remember that all the time. And I'm like, bitch, I'm in great A's. I'm not dead.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
All because of that one person.
Did I get everybody's final thoughts on Emily Schmidt? Anything that struck you that must be spoken?
She's a gem.
She's a gem. Yeah. Oh, we need to take vacations. Hello. Yes, we do. We need to take vacations. Yes. Sorry. Once again, I just looked down and that's what pops out. So
I love it.
Love it.
Well, speaking of love and light, what's lighting up your life these days? What are you working on and what's going on in your world that we can support or just celebrate? What's going on? AJ?
I am writing short stories and I've actually just been editing for a racetrack.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's what you do. I love it. Emily, what about you? What's going on?
I'm going to Sedona, Arizona. Basically, we'll probably stay in the car because, everything's happening, but there's ley lines there, and I'm very excited about the vortex. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know.
I love it. I love it. Brittany, what about you? What's going on?
Right now, I'm trying to power through a book that I have to be done by next week. So it's called Yesterday I Cried. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. Oh. And I feel like I will cry if I do not finish this book because I didn't finish the last one. So there's a lot of pressure on me.
You got this, girl.
You can do it. You got this. Well, I'm excited for Firecracker Department because we've got a bunch of cool partnerships coming up. Real Women's Network. If you haven't checked out their platform yet, please do. It's full of amazing female filmmakers. And we are doing interviews so that you can even hear more from these filmmakers. You can see their work and then hear their voice. And also AJ's edited little clips of the interviews. So we don't usually, with our podcast, we don't usually include the Zoom. So these are some inside scoops. And if you want to support Firecracker Department, go to firecrackerdepartment.com, subscribe to our newsletter, jump in on social media. Tell us what you thought about this chat. Tell us what you thought about some of the podcasts at Firecracker DPT. Join the Firecracker community. The table's really long. We have tons of leaves and lots of chairs. Just grab a chair, bring your own pillow, and join our community. This has been great. Brittany, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Brittany.
Thank you.
All right, see you next time on the After Show, everybody. Bye.
Bye.